Hi, I'm Kelly and I draw things, and welcome back to another sketchbook tour. So I've been going back and finding old sketchbooks and then finishing out the blank pages. So this is a mix of really old stuff and then some new stuff. First, the cover was the Strathmore tan-toned paper cover, and I thought it was ugly. So I put some stickers on it and used my paint pens to scribble over it, and I actually thought it ended up kind of cute. Made me want to draw on it. These three are from Cheyenne Barton. This is from my hometown. This I think is also from my hometown. And then this I got when I worked at Disney World in 2015. So this book itself I've had since 2015. And some of the sketches might go back that far. I don't really remember. So you'll see me alternate between like the old stuff, and then the new stuff is on the backs for the first little bit. So I drew an armadillo. This looks like it's in Prismacolor pencil with white and black. And then you'll see the current stuff alongside the other stuff. Also, spoilers for the book Fourth Wing. It's a romantasy book that I really like because I did a ton of fan art in here. So if you are currently reading it, put this video in your watch list and then watch it after you read Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. So this is where we started new. So I drew a bald eagle at some point in the past, and so that inspired this guy. And I was like, what if he was a security guard? And what if he had a bunch of little security guard pigeons that were also around him that are like way smaller? So I thought that was funny. And then this is a sketch of the main protagonist of Fourth Wing. Her name is Violet Sorengale, and she has this like coronet braid that goes around her head. And I was trying to figure out kind of what I thought she might look like in my style. It's also a very R-rated book. Well, it varies, as you know, it has spicy scenes. How about that? So seeing Violet in my style, which is very like mid-grade graphic novel, I just think is hilarious. Another thing about my sketchbooks is I write a lot in them. I make lists, I make plans, so they're not really aesthetic. They're a little bit ugly. And hopefully that inspires someone to go, oh, my sketchbooks are ugly too, and that's okay. Because I use them for pre-planning and actually finish out the art on like nice paper and things like that. So then I have a sketch of, or a page of sketches of a black vulture. I don't know why, but they're there. And here's more Violet Sorengale. And she dresses in all black, so that's why there's not a ton of detail. She's got some daggers on her like thighs. Her main thing is like a dagger and like some boots. And then again, her coronet braid, which this is the only drawing of the coronet braid that I actually like. All the others I'm like, that looks really dumb. So maybe I just need to work on that. Under her like normal, it's called a tunic, they call it, just her shirt, is a dragon scale armor corset, and so I drew that, and then she gets this tattoo thing later on in the book, and I put that on her as well. I drew a great horned owl at some point. And then more Fourth Wing fan art. This is Andarna. She becomes one of Violet's dragons, and she kind of just, in my head, she was this like little round like butterball of a dragon, and so I was just like, well, let's see if I can draw her. I like this version of her, but it doesn't fit in what was described in the book, so I imagine this is like right after she hatched potentially. And I have some barn owl and bobcat sketches. More Andarna, figuring out what her body looked like. A barred owl and an Easter screech owl. If I had to guess, these like real drawings of animals are from the sanctuary, of the wildlife sanctuary in Savannah, Georgia. If I had to take a guess. So Plains bison, more Andarna. Really figuring out what her body looks like. She's called a feather tail, which I assume she has feathers, and so I'll try to figure out what that looked like. I think this was my favorite sketch out of all of those, but she's so round and derpy, it does not fit the book, because in the book she, or Violet, the main person, doesn't realize Andarna's a baby until later, but she looks so different from the other dragons here that I was like, you have to be a moron to not figure that out, so changed her later, but alright. Then this is my favorite part from the book. It's called threshing. It's where the dragon riders go out into the woods and like find their dragon they want to be partnered with. And I ended up fully finishing this out. I'll put it here on the screen. But she's climbing up the trees to get a better vantage point. And then it's fall, so you have all these fall colors, which I loved. And then she sees a golden dragon glittering off in the distance. Then at the bottom, she sees these 3 jerks, is an understatement. They end up trying to kill her later, so like major jerks, going towards the dragon, and she's like, oh no. But she also like sees the dragon and like points it down. I wanted some text, so I put the little golden one. That's not actually what she says. I think she thinks it, but you know, with comics you have to say it out loud. This, I bet, is a daily drawing challenge from long ago. Daily Drawing Challenge is a Facebook group where you can go draw daily. You post a photo each day and then everyone draws it. So it's a fun little community. I hop in and out every once in a while, but I bet that's from that. Here we go. And this is Violet like really talking to Andarna for the first time. And this is when I realized this like really rounded version was not gonna work. It looks too different from all the other dragons to not think that she's just a baby. So I took this and I redid it in a few pages. This, I bet, is another daily drawing challenge. This looks like it's done with some colored pencil, some white ink. I think this white might be some paint pen, maybe. More Violet Sorrengail. At presentation, which is where they go walk by the dragons to kind of like meet them for the first time. They smell Violet's dragon scale armor because it's from her sister, and they recognize the sister's dragon scales. So they like come up and sniff her, and she is like terrified. And they're green, so I did the big sniff in green, and I really love this drawing. This is something I'd like to finish out digitally at some point. Oh, here we go. Daily Drawing Challenge 1394. So if you go to the group and go to the albums with the reference photos, you can find it, 1394. Actually, I bet this is like whiteout pen, like the like chunky ones you use for office supplies, and then just some Pentel pocket brush, most likely. All right, and then we get to the other dragons, and this is kind of, I'll show it this way first. So Sigale is a dragon of a different person, and I kind of pictured her looking like one of the dragons from How to Train Your Dragon. I made her kind of like wide and like you know, has lots of horns, and I kind of like her. And then Terran is her mate, who ends up being Violet's other dragon. And I just pictured him as this big spiky guy, and I really liked this head and then this body shape for him. And as you can see, this body shape and that like round body shape of Andarna did not really work out together, because I was supposed to think Andarna's just small, like she's not a baby, so that didn't work. So then I redesigned Andarna. I ended up making her like this instead, so still round but a little more dragony. And then she ends up aging in the second book, so I drew like what I thought that might look like as well. All right, and then more. I think we have a few more pages of just Fourth Wing fan art. This is Rhiannon from the book. She's Violet's best friend. They meet at the very beginning of the book, and I really like her a lot, so I drew her like this. In the book, I reread it, and then it said she has really sharp cheekbones, which is not what I drew. I drew her very rounded. So an artist interpretation. And then they build a harness for Andarna to hook into Terran, because she can't fly very far, and this is all I can imagine is one of those like cool dad baby harnesses. This coffee and his phone. So here's the redraw of that other page, and I think it looks great. I really like how she's more dragony. I like all her feathers. I like her wings are up. I like doing this blackout, like when stuff is on the other side of the body. I think that's fun. So I really like this. I think it's really fun. And then I started doing some character designs for my webcomic called Wildlife Fuel about a skunk that works at a gas station. And this is the night manager. His name is Marv. I drew another guy that I named Cliff that I didn't like. I ended up not using him. I used him instead. And he feels cool. And then, so I was re-listening to Fourth Wing, and that's why I was doing all this fan art, because I liked it so much I listened to it twice. And that's like a commitment, because it's a 20-hour audiobook. But I convinced my friend to listen to it at the same time, and so I made this logo for us called the Tired Artist Audiobook Club. And I actually made this into a sticker. I finished it out. I'll put the picture here, but I posted this, and a lot of people were like, I relate to that so much. I was like, oh cool, I'll make a sticker. So that was the final-ish version. Here was me trying to like figure out what it looked like. So just some logo sketches, I guess. And then more Fourth Wing fan art. So this is Parapet. Parapet is this really big bridge that they have to cross to get to the dragon school. It's, people die. It's really traumatic. That's why I pictured this big, long, kind of jaggedy arch going all the way up, and there's like a little door at the bottom. So that was cool. This was me planning out my display for my artist alley. So trying to figure out how to incorporate the new fan art and things like that. So working on that. This I doodled while waiting for dinner one time at a mall food court. And I just did like some chibiusa, someone's phone, this kind of nice back to the distance road scene, and then a vending machine. Okay, so this brainstorm came because I did a bookmark for a bus. So it's from a different sketchbook. I did this sketch, and it was a request from Patreon, which seems like a good time to plug Patreon. Thank you to my patrons for supporting my work. I do things like polls, mail plug, and I put out requests sometimes too. So you'll see some more requests at the end of the sketchbook, but if you want to put in a request or get some like merch, I'll put this month's up here too for July. Go check out Patreon. So anyway, coming back, I did a sketch, and then I was like, that'll make a cool bookmark. So I made a bookmark, and I thought it was the most boring bookmark, maybe not ever, but definitely up there. And I was like, what can I do to make this more interesting? Because it was just a bus with animals. I was like, nah, it's fine. But I want it to be good instead of fine. So I did a brainstorm of bus and like all these different things I think of and how I could make it cool. And I was like, what if it was tiny? What if it was underwater? But what if it was in space? What if it was a flying bus? I ended up going with tiny, and it ended up like this, where I did a ton of research, which I don't really do research normally for bookmarks, but I had to research the smallest animals in the world, and I pulled a ton of them, and I put them in this bus, and I made it like small, like there's a ruler and a bottle cap and things like that. So I'm really pleased with how it turned out, because I think it's really cute. So I'm glad I redid it. But that's what that brainstorm was for. Okay, let's go this one first. Then I did some sticker sketches. I Need a Self-Care Taco was something that came to mind when my friend was like, I've had a bad day, I'm getting self-care Mexican food. And I was like, oh, I like that. So that'll be a sticker maybe at some point. It's in my to draw pile. This I just finished yesterday, actually. This sketch and then this sketch, I'll turn it in a second. It's just of like a sea monster underwater. And I was like, oh, that'd make a cool bookmark if there's like a little diver, and like a treasure chest and some fish. And it ended up being like this, and I'm super pleased with it. I did a really flat, like black dragon, because I also did this bookmark at the same time. I wanted it to be different than just like two long dragons. And in my head, it's Forbidden Love, because it's water and electric. It doesn't really promote touching. But yeah, so that sketch ended up being the sea monster bookmark. And then I have these two sketches where it's kind of similar, and I was like, oh, I could do like a sketch of a sea monster, but I decided I wanted to do a bookmark instead. And then I was like, ooh, or it could be Gyarados, which is a Pokemon, and I could do like a Pokemon fan art. And then I think I did another sketch. Yeah, so and I decided Gyarados going down would be cooler. Because he's not as long as you think he is if you really look at the body of the Pokemon. So that's in my working pile to do. But Gyarados will be a bunch of water type Pokemon. I did a bunch of sticker sketches. I'm not going to turn into anything, I don't think. Everything is groovy, but it wasn't really working for me. Some other sketches, I did like a squirrel in a tree hoarding a bunch of books, and like a D&D campaign with a bunch of animals, and they're all playing. And then this bookmark actually intimidates me. It's gonna take a lot of research, but I wanted to do a mummy in like a sarcophagus. They're laying on their stomach like reading with like a little light, and there's a little drink. And I can't decide if I want to put it in a museum or in a pyramid. In a museum would make more sense because they have this modern stuff. But I don't want it to be like a boring museum. I want it to look cool. So that's going to take some work. But I'm working on that. That'll be Q4 for a bookmark release probably. And then I did finish this out. I turned that into a sticker. And this is one of those where I finished it. It was boring, so I just went in and added a ton of detail and it made it so much better. So that was really good. I tried to add a pig in there, but it wasn't my thing. And I did most popular animals according to the internet, and I made a list because I just draw a ton of cats. I have so many cats on a lot of my products, and I want to kind of branch out into other stuff people might be interested in. So that's there. I live in the South. I live in Atlanta, Georgia right now, and y'all is something that's worked its way into my vocabulary since I started living in Georgia in 2016. So I wanted to make a y'all sticker, and I think I was just gonna make it like sunset with clouds and some power lines and some birds and just put y'all on it. Again, it remains to be seen, but I think it's funny. I wanted to do some Zelda fan art, and so I was kind of brainstorming all the stuff that I like and different things I could draw. I'm not sure I really liked any of those in the end though. The shrines from Breath of the Wild are my favorite part, so I think sometime I'm going to do some isometric drawings of like video game art, which would be cool. And then I did some Stardew Valley sketches as well, and I don't know what that is. Yeah, I have no idea what that is. This is just a ton of chickens. I think that'd be fun. The chicken coop is my favorite part of the game, hence all the chickens, so an isometric drawing of chickens. And then thinking about drawing Abigail, like kind of looking at the tower. And I kind of want to do a whole comic about that as well, but again, it remains to be seen. And then I was going to do a round sticker of Juno with all the different gems, but I have discontinued fan art stickers because I've stopped doing conventions at this point. I'm not going to do that, but I think just drawing those would be fun. I have more thumbnails. Okay, so here I did this like reference gathering where the short version of the story is I did a daily drawing challenge in 2020 when I was stuck in the house and couldn't go anywhere called 30 Places in 30 Days. And I drew 30 places in 30 days and I based it off of this reference that I pulled. So like I had a folder of things I liked off the internet and I pulled 5 to 7 images randomly and then drew something inspired from that, and I have come back to that time and time again for inspiration. So I did it again. I did it rushed. I liked how I did just like one a day earlier, so this kind of backfired. But I ended up doing all these different thumbnails, and I don't really even remember what they were. Like that's how rushed it was. So good technique, bad application. I'll do this again with different reference at some point. Because I can't really tell what these are. Like I think this is a little restaurant, like a barbecue restaurant. There's like a table at the top and there's lights and there's like Arizona background type of thing. So it was a good idea, but I just needed more time to do it. Here we have like the same thing, like a dragon statue with some like rainbow stuff, and then I have this of a cat in a field, and it's really awesome, and I really like it. I like to do a dog in a field and have a black dog, maybe some white paws or a white little like chest mark, and have like a dog version, because again, I'm trying to draw more different animals than just more cats. And then here, some more thumbnails. This one is actually a computer with like grass and stuff growing on, which I think would be cool. So that's in my pile to actually finish out. Oh, okay, and then this one I actually made into the Patreon print for July. And I'm continuing with the character from last month's Patreon print from June called Mail Dog. And you have this Dalmatian who goes and delivers the mail around the world to all these different kingdoms of these different species of creatures. And I'm actually writing a whole comic about it, and these are the characters, but her name is Gwen. She's just waiting at the bus stop and looking at the rainbow and eating her banana. Because the last time she was eating Pop-Tarts, so now we're continuing on with breakfast food. I was planning my Furry Weekend Atlanta setup. I was planning out my half table space. So that's what I ended up doing. And I'll post pictures of what it ended up looking like. It looks pretty good in my opinion. And then some more planning for that. This is Tears of the Kingdom Art Nouveau Zelda. I did these Art Nouveau pieces of Star vs. the Forces of Evil in 2018 or 2019. And I really like them. And I wanted to do a one for Zelda. And so I did all these sketches, and that's in my pile to finish out as well. That's gonna take a lot of work though. It's a lot of detail for Art Nouveau. Here we go. And this was the sketch for that June Patreon where we had our first mail dog. And I put up a poll to see if I wanted to use a dog or a wolf, and people voted on dogs. So that's what I ended up doing, which I think was the right decision because I like her spots. But that was that page. Then I took some requests on Patreon, and I'll put them up here while I talk about them. Okay, so I put this post up on Patreon asking for people to submit drawing requests because I was almost done with the sketchbook and I was going to finish some stuff out. And I'll put them up here. I'm going to just use their first name because I don't want to invade anyone's privacy. But Kate said, I would love to see a crow and a possum that are best friends. And I did this whole comic and I mixed up crows and magpies, so it ended up not working out. But this idea that the crow is sad because her boyfriend just dumped her, and they're like trash buddies, they like to go dig in the trash together. And the possum is like, no, you're great, you have this huge collection of shiny things, which is where I mixed up the birds. Because magpies collect shiny things, not crows. Crows are just super smart. And so then the possum goes on this like big mission and finds a shiny thing for her friend. And I wrote this whole thing. Then I was like, well, I mixed up the birds, so I'll just do some sketches and they're friends instead. So like, I like this one a lot where they're just in the trash can, just like hanging out, having a good time. I thought that worked really well. So that was the possum and crow, they're best friends. Then from Caitlin, I have a grasshopper and a rock band. So I was trying to figure out what that looked like. And so I did some practicing of bugs, and I ended up doing a grasshopper in a rock band because he's with a bunch of rocks, which kind of relates to my You Rock pun from a few months ago. I had a sticker on Patreon. And so that was my grasshopper rock band. And then Kelsey said, a little crow in an empty pumpkin field. And I took empty as in no other crows, because it's full of pumpkins to know it's a pumpkin field. But he's like getting ready to set off and go south for the winter. And so you have all these pumpkins and all his friends going, and he's got his little bindle and he's about to go off. But that is my sketchbook. So thank you for watching. Give me a like. And subscribe if you want to see more of this stuff, because I'm going to upload more in the future. Thanks again. Have a good day. Bye.